Okay, well, cloud computing, while it may sound like a buzzword, in reality, it is an understanding of how commodity off-the-shelf hardware has now made it possible to have a widespread deployment of technology that now you can disengage the operating environment from the hardware. So now you have a huge platform of multiple individual computer systems, and you put your OS on top of it, and you are able now to move from one system to the other system, scale out as you need, scale down as your requirements go down, and thereby now you're not now constrained. What can my piece of hardware, do I have enough memory, do I have enough resources, do I have to have a system administrator trained for it, and so on. You eliminate all those things, you completely disengage, and by doing so, what happens now is governments can now very quickly respond to situations. So for example, the H1N1 scenario, if you now needed to do contact tracing, if you wanted to find out who went where and all that, are you now going to buy a new computer, install server software in there and try and track people? Or can I just say, look, I want to have a new instance of a OS that has got a web server in it and a way for me to capture data as people come in and go? That's the way it should be. You shouldn't have to worry about provisioning new hardware, raising a purchase order, getting the budget for it and all. It should be just very easily done. As easy as creating a new document. If you needed to create a new document using a word processor, it should be as simple as that. And so the benefit that governments get out of running a cloud environment is you now eliminate all the silos. There would have been a silo of systems available in one department in government, and there could be another department with a whole bunch of other systems there. Now there is a particular requirement. One department is underutilizing their service, and the other department is now suffering because they are at full capacity. Is there a way for them to use these services here, these systems here, that's idling or relatively idle? By making it in a cloud environment, this becomes a liquid resource that you can just use everywhere you want, anywhere you want, provided you put in all the necessary governance and making sure the proper authorizations before the usage happens. It's all placed into the equation. Otherwise, you are stuck. You're in the silos, which is it's a shame, and the resources have been already expended, and you cannot now use it. So cloud changes the dynamics. So it's now for the CIOs of government agencies and so on to understand, how can I maximize my resources? This may also turn out to be an opportunity for them to cross-bill one another. Say, okay, one department is underutilizing it, fine, I can now sell my services to another department. Opens up an opportunity to maybe subsidize some other of their services. Whatever it is, the benefit is now something for them now to think about how they can actually move forward. I think the first and most important thing is to ensure that whatever solutions they look at trying to deploy, it must be built on open APIs. API standing for Application Programming Interface, so that when they deploy a solution, they should be able to get to the data in a manner which is published manner. So the access is published. It's not a undocumented way of getting to the data. At the end of the day, this is government data that needs to be made available to either government to consume or to the citizen to interact with. So the data must be consumable and reachable through open and public APIs at the minimum. Now, if all of this is running on top of an open source environment, that it makes it even better, because clearly the ability to check and make sure the data is correct and and nothing has changed is made a lot easier. I think the last challenge is really for the government to do it. If they don't even explore opportunities to do that, that's going to be a huge stumbling block to begin with. But they must be willing to even try. Now, before they do the trying, then they need to understand, okay, what kind of cloud computing environments are there? There are public cloud computing environments, which is out there as you're buying from a commercial perspective. There are private ones, which is what you may buy it and then deploy it within your own organization, or there could be a mix of the two. So certain government services may be deployed in a public cloud environment. Maybe it doesn't really, like for example, the health advisory information for the recent H1N1 scare. Now that may be put into a public environment, a public cloud environment for e-government services. But the actual tracking of individuals who have been infected by it and so on and so on, that may want to build into a private one, so that there is no issue of leakage of information or potential for leakage of information and so on. So you kind of separate, but you need to understand the scheme in front of in front of you in terms of what is acceptable to be put out there, what is more acceptable to put in-house, and what can be in the middle. And this is a very dynamic thing. There's no one answer. The answer for today may be different from the answer for tomorrow, because it is a very dynamic environment. But the beauty of the cloud computing environment is actually very transparent. Where you draw the line is really up to you. So it's clearly up to the government to take the first step, even willing to try.